Are you still relying on venture capital funding to scale your healthcare business? Discover today in our episode how breaking through the traditional way of fundraising can help secure your financial freedom and create sustainable financial growth. Welcome to Provider's Edge, the podcast that helps healthcare entrepreneurs and innovators break down barriers and control their business, life, and future with valuable action steps. With me, your host, Sabrina Runbeck, a recovered clinician and a business deal catalyst. Let's rewrite the rules and create a positive social impact while increasing your profitability. Hi, everyone. Today we have Ben Ali here with us. Excited to have him to bring a different shed light to you from a way of how do you truly expand from your financial side to have more freedom and not stretch out so much where you're burning out. And despite all of us who are very high functioning, we wanted to be in an even better state. So not only he serves as the service team leader at Physician Family Financial Advisor, but also he co-hosts his own podcast of the same name. Well recognized for his expertise, Ben has been featured in the New York Times and listed among the 150 best financial advisor for doctors by Medical Economy magazine. And as a certified financial planner, Ben provides physician clients with solutions that extend beyond achieving financial freedom, ensuring they are also truly have the time to enjoy everything that you have achieved. So thank you, Ben, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for that rousing introduction.
We were just talking about another episode that we recorded, recently published with Jamie, who has been a therapist supporting women. And that's also a super place in Ben's heart to support women leaders in healthcare. So I love it that we are all understanding that running a business is hard, or just being a leader. There's a lot of ups and downs with understanding yourself, understanding your team, understanding the growth of your team and your work. So how do we put all the puzzle pieces together? Sometimes it's not about finding all the answers. So I would love, Ben, just tell us a little bit more your background and how did you come about doing what you are doing? And also, what was the initial intro about running your own podcast as well?
I think that my background is probably similar to many of your listeners. I'm not a physician, but I was a geeky science kid. So I'm a financial advisor with 2 degrees in chemistry and an article in publication long ago. I began doing this, the longest tenured client I have is 25 years. She's the first physician client that I ever served. And I've been doing it about 5 years past that. So I have about a 30-year career. Yeah. So like you mentioned, I'm a father of 2 daughters. My wife's taller than I am, which makes us kind of the fun couple. But, I'm interested in helping women to achieve the things that they want to achieve in life, whether that's to climb the corporate ladder or feel comfortable in their daily existence. That's one of the things that we do because we do serve male and female physicians in the work that we do.
Exactly. I mean, everyone's specialty is important. That's why we collaborate so much in medicine. Because we understand there are things we do really well, and there are things that we do like someone to support us on. And then that's the main point about everything that we have in life. And then especially when it comes to financial and life sense, right? There's impossible for us to know everything. That's why people come to you for those advices. What have you been seeing? Perhaps a trend, perhaps a bigger challenges in the clients that you're being working with recently?
It seems like being a physician is kind of no longer in favor, right? You hear about side gigs and side hustles, and if you read in the blogosphere, it makes you feel like the job that you're doing right now, being a physician, like maybe that's not good enough, right? So you need to have a side hustle, or you need to be doing something else. And so I see physicians that feel put upon to be something greater than a physician, which, heretofore has kind of been the penultimate thing. But now, you have to grow and be a founder. I think being a founder is great, but I think that some people need permission to continue to be physicians. But I think more than anything, like Sabrina, you're a great example of this. I think following your energy, doing the thing that brings you joy, that you feel like you're good at, regardless of whether that's your, what's in your training or those are the letters after your name. I think giving yourself permission to follow your passion, to do the thing that wakes you up in the morning, regardless of whether that's your main thing or not. I think that's really where it's at.
And a lot of people lose that part of identity. Some people still grasp, right? And then, I like to paint. So when the kids go to sleep, I actually have a half hour to myself to do this. And versus many other people seems to get into this revolving door of same thing repetitively. And then when they have a day off, then they feel like, I have 10,000 things I need to do to running errands. And there's not really a day off, right? So that's the permission part that you were saying. They haven't given themselves the permission to say, let me just allow myself to sit on the couch, to read a book, to do something that I usually like to do, or forgot what I personally allow myself to like something even feels like, even just a half hour at the gym, if that's what they want, or go on a run in the park, right? And so what is it that you can say truly it's something feels relaxing, something energetic, the word that you're putting out, that we can give ourselves permission to, it's not selfish. I deserve to have this time to reset, refresh, so I can be even better with other people. Now, have you also seen when people are not giving themselves space? That's part of the resilience work that we always do, right? We say there are three things. Either you can create space, you can create more health, and you can create more liveliness in your body, right? To truly be more resilient and to be performing in a higher function, and therefore productivity increase, right? So have you seen, even from a financial side, right, personal decision side, the people that haven't allowed themselves to create this more space, more joy in their life tend to also make worse financial decisions?
Yeah, I think it's really easy to get stuck in the rat race, to kind of be on the treadmill of more, more, more. And it takes a little peace, a little rest, a little silence, a little calm, a little sleep to recognize how much is enough for us, to battle back the voices in our heads that say we're not enough, right? That we should be going, going, going. Some of the greatest creators that have ever lived created in the morning. They spent the first 4 to 6 hours of the day working hard, writing, doing art, in the lab as scientists. And the last half of the day they spent in rest, walking the beach, or, some of the great creators spent time at the bar. But, as an entrepreneur myself, I find that some of the best ideas that I have come while I'm relaxing, when I'm unwinding, or when I'm coming up from sleep. And I have to imagine that the entrepreneurs that listen to your show, that, these ideas, you can't get them from spending time on social media, right? That's where you're consuming someone else's creation. You have to be able to give yourself time to kick back and listen to your inner voice, and that inner knowing that you have to be able to understand, like, what's coming up for me? What is the thing that I want to bring to life in this world? And what do I need to be doing next?
So true. Now, some people might push back on that to say, well, part of my work is on social, promoting the business or making connection, which is true. Now we have strategy on doing that, right? You only allow yourself half hour dedicated time to do activity ABC, right? And it's not the part where we kind of get rabbit holed into scrolling, right? The constant changing stimulation of what social media give to most people. And for most people, yes, the creation is about the space that you're not typically in to trigger this additional side of subconsciousness so you can see more possibility. And that's, for a lot of people, they do it in shower, right? They're like, okay, really nothing can distract me. This is me.
I wasn't going to say shower, but you went there. So yes, shower. That's where most of my great ideas come from. Yeah,
right?
Shower time.
Yeah. And then you just have to keep remembering, like, so once you get out, you can actually write things down. And so it's really focusing on like, what's that space and time that you have to make it even better, to really understanding yourself. And for things to work well, right? There's must be some decisions that we have to make to for you to see like as things are moving in the right decision. And one of the things for a lot of my clients always, well, can you just tell me what do I have to measure to feel success? And sometimes I have to be like, okay, well, have you measured anything at all yet? Like, what is the goal even just to begin, right? If I'm not even sure where you're headed, then we can't create success KPI because then we don't even know what to track, right?
Pick me. I have a question. So I was talking with my co-host, Nate Renicky, and today we were talking about how people measure success. And it seems that money is really easy to measure. You can look at a bottom line, you can look at a financial statement, you can look at your paycheck, right? I mean, the United States economy measures your success for you, but that's only one metric out of, gosh, I could think of probably easily 8 metrics, right? We measure our gross domestic product, but we don't measure our gross national happiness. So we look at our GNH versus the measured gross national happiness of other nations. We're not even in the top 10 here, right? And so I think it's they say in business, what gets measured gets managed, and you have to be very careful what you measure. I mean, you could easily measure like the number of hours that you spend with your children. You could measure like the number of hours you spend in the gym, or the amount of weight that you lift, or the number of people that you could lift a phone and call to have coffee with, right? There's so many different measures that don't have anything to do with our financial bottom line, right? And so the question of enough, as a father of 2 daughters, this is something that I struggled with them. How much studying is enough? How much good grades is enough, right? Because you can focus on the A plus, but sometimes just the A minus is what allows you to go outside and play, engage in sports, where you learn your leadership activities, and you expand your numbers and build in another realm, a realm beyond just the financial, right? So most people would look at me and they say, oh, this guy's a financial advisor, but he's telling me not to focus on the money, right? So that comes across as a little bit odd. But really, when we think about planning, whether it's planning a business or planning your personal finances, you're allocating and meting out a resource over time. And if it's your personal finances, it's the consumption of money over time. Some now, some later, to make sure that you have a little bit as you go along. And I think that we have to met out our life energy as well, and be careful how that's consumed and used, because we do have a proclivity as living beings to run out of time. And sometimes that's far before we expect it to be. And so I think it's a matter of, I don't want to use the word balance, because that's so elusive. I think it's a matter of doing more than one thing. It's having a broader focus in living life purposefully and intentionally in every moment, right? Not work really hard now and live really big later. It is to listen to what is going on in your mind and your heart and your brain, and to branch out and do those things today, right? To have a variety of approaches to things.
Exactly. And so when I had this show, our first 100 episodes, I actually used to ask the speakers to take a life wheel assessment, where's the 10 key pillars of life, right? And then one of them is quality of life. And financial intelligence is separate from your career achievement. And it's also separate from that social support, the love relationship, the personal mission, and personal health and mental well-being, and all these, and then self-identity, right? Which is really crucial too, like that personal side of growth and characteristic. And so I used to have the people do that, because one of the key things I believe in leadership is you're correct. I don't like the word balance, because there's no such thing. There's no way we can put things on the balance beam and then be like, oh, treating it equally. And it's putting too much stress on us. I believe in quality and harmony, right? You can spend even just half hour with your family member
but then there's no distraction. You're with them 100%. You're present, you're engaging. Then even it's only half hour, it's so meaningful because you elicit a certain set of emotion and bonding with those people. And therefore, we have to be able to see different things. And in business, right, if we pull business out, like we actually measure 12 key component of business for their impact. And that's how we measure success, is that it's not just your profitability. That's not good enough. We actually have to also measure your human capital, your societal capital, and then your culture capital, because no matter what, you can have the best infrastructure out there, best strategy. The wrong people is in the wrong seat, nothing happens, right? So I feel like individually, people can have that reality check with themselves. Like, how do you actually believe what success looks like, right? And then, and then we can say, okay, if that's success, then there's a quality of life attached to that success. Then you can actually do the financial planning to match that quality of life that you really wanted to have. And it's exactly what Ben, you're saying is, how do I not just wait for the moment later? Because if we are not allowing ourselves to live and feel the reward of today, it's very difficult for us to continue to have that motivation for that later time.
Has it been your experience, Sabrina, as a leader in your field? I mean, healthcare is a service business, right? You're not making and selling a widget most of the time. Most of the time, you're having one person work on another, right? And as a result of having a service business, you have a throng of people that you lead or that you're responsible for. It seems like it would be practically impossible to lead those people unless you yourself were a whole person. Like unless you had done your own work on yourself, it would be difficult to lead others. And beyond that, I think you could also argue that if you lack self-awareness, or if you haven't had a chance to work on yourself, or if you don't have the emotional support, you could lead your business right over a cliff.
Oh yeah. And I think that's the reason for any hire in a company, we measure those for exactly what you're saying, right? Like, how do we be whole? Or do I even see myself as a whole? Or sometimes I have no self-awareness. I'm already whole, but I'm doubting myself in other ways, right? In some capacity. So I lower my vibration, lower my energy, lower my output. Mm-hmm. And for sure, the people who are more engaging, the people who behind their back, all the positive words come out instead of feeling some other way, are the people who are more self-aware in the situation. And perhaps they just think, oh, I'm making a joke. But if the joke is not really funny to other people, you're not making a joke. You're just being sarcastic in a negative way, right? And we definitely see that. And we definitely see, as you even mentioned, so one of the tools we use the predictive index, and then we also use the psychological profiling and the physical profiling. It's that there are people who are like captains. They're true drivers. They're putting people together and they're pushing things forward. But if you don't have someone who's a controller to help you see all the detailed minutia to help you organize, yes, you can drive the whole company off the cliff. That means you're pushing things too fast for your staff or even your patients. You haven't allowed themselves to see the adaptation, right? I think that's what some of the challenges we have with even technology in healthcare is many people solve difficulties, solve gap. They create a solution. They create additional software, product, services. And then they're coming back to the clinicians or the patients, the caregivers say, hey, this will solve everything. Go adapt. And people are not ready for that, right?
Yeah.
And also because they were not invited in the initial conversation of those product development. So if you didn't include them in the forefront of change, policy, and creation, how do you all of a sudden you think they can change their mind from all the years that they did something and to like, oh yeah, this is going to help me. I'm just going to change my behavior or change my belief system right away, right? Do you feel like you see that as well in the line of work that you do?
I do. Even an organization as small as mine, there are 5 of us on our service team. I think that change management is one of those things where you have to put yourself in the other person's shoes. You have to meet people where they're at, because you may have a great idea that you want to run, you want to just take it and run with it and go as far as you can. But the folks that are on your team or in your organization, they may be really happy with the way things are. They may not see the need for change. And so I think getting in their space with them, seeing their perspective on the world is one of the ways that you allow change to happen. But I find, at least personally, when I'm leading, I lead better when I'm coming from a place of rest, when I'm coming from a place where I'm well sourced, well resourced, rather than a space of scarcity. And I think you give a lot of value on your shows. You give a lot of value on your podcast. You're coming from a place of abundance. And what I've seen with clients is that when we can show them, there's going to be abundance in your life, you are actually doing enough, they realize they have extra, and they realize that they can give, whether it's a financial resource, but more usually an emotional resource, where they realize that they do have abundance. It just allows more things to be possible. And change management is one of those things. When you can go meet somebody where they're at, that takes energy. But if you have enough energy to be able to do that, then you're going to be more successful in driving the change that you need to get the results for the people that ultimately you're serving as your end users or as your customers.
Right. And too many people wanted the shortcut, right? We'll just go to the big decision makers and that will trickle down. But not knowing, that big decision maker, just to get through the gatekeeper to talk to them is one thing. And convincing them still needed to have conversations and be okay to take the time, like you're saying, to understand them truly, and then provide the resources and solutions at the back end, and not feeling like you're jumping in, already think there's a problem, and you're just talking your heart out, right? And then people don't see the true value because it's not a assessment type of give, right? It's just like, I have all this. This conversation can go on for a long time. And love having you here. Now, as we wrapping up, what would be a big takeaway that you want people to really remember?
I think it is that as you are building your healthcare business, you need to be building yourself as well. That business cannot grow any bigger than you've grown. You need to be large enough to contain your business in your mind. And so working on yourself as you go, and of course, personal finance is about 1/8 of the things that you need to be working on. Working on yourself is just as important as working on the business that you're developing.
Amazing. Yes. Right. Really understand yourself and knowing we all grown year by year, day by day, and it's to recognize everything that we have achieved, and then where should we up level even more, right? As we go forward. Awesome. How can people find more information about you? Where do you like to point people to?
We're pretty focused here. And so, we're not in a lot of places on the internet. We're really in 2 places. So we're, name of the business is Physician Family Financial Advisors. So we're at physicianfamily.com. And we're wherever you get your podcasts. You're going to be shocked when you hear the name of the podcast, but it's the Physician Family Financial Advisors podcast.
Love it. From a branding perspective, yay! Everything
easy.
Easy.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised how many people have different handles for their business, socials and website, whatnot. I'm like, yeah, people don't like to do too much work, so make things life easy for them. So everyone, go to Physician Family Financial Advisors, right?
Yep, on the podcast or physicianfamily.com if you're interested in getting right to us.
Perfect. And I'm sure you guys always have exciting conversation on your show as well. So can't wait for everyone to jump over to your shows. And we know podcasters like to listen to multiple shows. So go check them out, everybody. Until next time.
Thank you for tuning in to Provider's Edge podcast. We hope you enjoy our latest episode and found the insights and tips helpful. We'd love to hear your feedback on the show and learn what topics you'd like us to cover in the future. So please take a moment to leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform and let us know what you think. Your feedback is essential to help us improve the show and provide you with the content you need to take your healthcare business to the next level. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.